Hi, welcome to the new episode of Sportsy Let's Aim Sports. Today we have with us Adrian D'Souza, an Indian field hockey goalkeeper who made the international debut for the men's national team in 2004 at the age of 19. Adrian has more than 100 international caps for the country across all the competitions. He is regarded as one of the most innovative and daring goalkeeper in the recent time. Adrian brought the rushing technique to the hockey field. Adrian has competed in major international hockey events like Olympics, World Cup, Asian Games, Champion Trophies, with over 165 caps for the country. Please welcome the wall of Indian hockey, who is also referred as Rush, Adrian D'Souza. Hi, Adrian. Great to have you on Sportsy Let's Aim Sports.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Sid.
It is, believe me, it's one of the proudest moment that we feel when we get to host an international athlete, and not only international athlete. I'm talking about somebody who has represented India for over 100 caps and being the wall for Indian hockey team for more than a decade. So it is great to have you here, Adrian. And as I always start my session, and believe me, first thing I love about this chat is the India jersey that you're wearing. And yes, and I'm sure that the proud moment of wearing that jersey is something different that we'll talk about over the period. But the first question I always talk about, because my channel is called Let's Aim Sports, Aspire, Inspire, and Motivate. So what was your aspiration, inspiration, and motivation while growing up?
Sid, firstly, thank you. Thank you for having me in your show. And I wish you all the success. And especially about this jersey, well, it really feels better when you're on the field and you're wearing that rather than just wearing it here. But then again, it's a moment. These are the small inspirations or aspirations I had as a kid. But to be very honest, as a child, I never dreamt of playing the Olympics. I never dreamt of playing the World Cup. I never dreamt of playing for India. They were small dreams. They were small goals. Goals such as winning a medal for my athletic team, winning a medal for scoring a goal for my football team, saving goals for my hockey team. So these were the moments that were driving me to the next level. And having a medal around your neck, taking the trophies, and if our school would win any trophies, every player would get to keep the trophy for at least 3 days.
Yeah.
In 3 days, your parents would take you to a studio, a photo studio, and you'd have to stand with the medal and the trophy and just, like, these are my motivations. I have to be very honest about it. Yes, the people do say we had Olympic dreams, but that happened later when I grew up to an age where I could dream of it. These were the small inspirations, aspirations I had as a kid. And the only thing that I always dreamt of was that I always wanted to know what it feels to be on a pitch of a football World Cup. Because I used to watch a lot of football. My dad used to make me watch every football matches I could watch. So then again, that was my dream. I never knew at this age, at 37, I could always say that the dream was always the same. Only thing that the sport changed for me.
Yeah.
And I always believe that if you know your goals, you'll always achieve your dreams.
Beautifully put it. I think that is something very important at the end of the day, that if you know your goals, you will achieve your dreams. I think that is so good. And while you're talking about goals everywhere, you are the one who saved goals in your journey. But I think you touched upon one point that you used to watch all the football games and you dreamed to be on the football field for a World Cup. And that was my question. It's like the team was solid when you were playing. Like a lot of people, and we always seen that North and South has dominated the hockey pitch. But how come a Mumbai boy got into hockey?
It's a long story. The journey always begins from my school. If not many people know, my school had a very sporting culture, including my society and my environment where I grew up. So all of us had this, if you were a boy and if you're in that school, you would have to take up some kind of sports. So that was a mandatory thing. When I got involved with football and hockey at a very young age, I was always surrounded with people who are into sports. So my friends who were boys who were playing sports in school, maybe some other house. We always had houses in school, house in head house. So when you're growing up with that environment, you always tend to become a part of a sporting activity, whether it's football, hockey, cricket, even if it's kabaddi, even if it's racing, it all
Right.
works well. But then when my college life came about at the age of 15 and 16, I chose a college which was a sporting college. So most of my friends got into a college which also was a very good college in sports, St. Andrews, but I chose Khalsa College. It was further away from Andrews. It was a bit distant from all of my friends, but that place did wonders for me. I got more involved with hockey. I got more involved with football. I met someone who I can call is one of my mentor in my life, Mr. Mazban Patel,
Mhm.
Bawa, and he opened up the world for me. He opened up the world beyond Mumbai hockey. He showed me what it could be of dreaming to wear this. And when that got focused in my eyesight, I just focused like a horse. My target was, I want to play for India. That is when my dreams changed from what I
Right.
had then as a kid and then what I had as a college kid. So
But
again,
when did you make that choice between football and hockey?
that's because I got selected for Air India Academy in my college days. So I was playing football for Khalsa and hockey for Khalsa. I was still loving football more. Like when there was football practice, I would be like there number one. But when there was hockey practice, I would trail myself because you're a goalkeeper. You have to wear pads. Again, then you got to carry the pads all the way for the next training session. It was a bit of a torture, but today when I look back, I feel it was a blessing. Another adding story about how you mentioned about Mumbai players, Mumbai players, there's a charm about Mr. Masman Patel. He's never played hockey. If you look at him, you'll really wonder, has he really created so many players? Because he's a guy who you look at and say, okay, this is just an ordinary person who's watching the sport. But most of the hockey players, including myself, Devinder Valmiki, Yuvraj Valmiki, Viren Raskina, Gavin Ferreira, Jude Menezes, all these guys have come through Bava. They have played for his team Republican. So it was not something that we want to play for Republican. It is something what he would come to you as. So he would scout you. You could not go to him and say, sir, I want to play for your team.
Oh wow.
And when that happened, my entire world completely changed when I got in the academy. So when I got in the academy, to your question, that's when I took hockey seriously,
Okay.
and I never looked back.
Okay. So on those lines, the one question is: was goalkeeping always the first choice, even in football and hockey, or it was you just became a goalkeeper, natural goalkeeper in hockey?
It was a very funny story. At the age of 9, I was playing my first football tournament for my school. At the age of 8, I was playing football, and the next year when I turned 9, our hockey team never had a goalkeeper. So the
Okay.
the coach, Father Lawrence, he comes up to my parents and he tells them that your son plays football well, and we don't have a goalkeeper. I think we're going to try him. I don't worry. I have the kit. I have the gear. I will teach him everything. And I just followed that. And the first year we lost in football and hockey, but I got the best goalkeeper in hockey. And in
Oh,
football, I was never a goalkeeper. I was always a striker. So
oh,
when I
nice.
got the best goalkeeper in under 10, and Mr. Mervin Fernandez back then was the chief guest. He gave me an envelope of 100 rupees. Imagine one school kid who
Yes.
was not even in the finals. He's going with his uniform, going all the way to Bandra to get this award. So that award for me has been the most precious award till date, the $100 that I received, because then my parents realized and I realized that नहीं ये खेल सकता है, hockey खेल सकता है, कुछ कर सकता है. It was a very
Okay.
hard year. I lost two teeth, and I had injuries because I had no helmet back then. Uh,
Oh wow. Okay.
the first gift I got from my coach saying that this is your helmet. So things happened in a very funny way, but I'm so blessed about it.
Believe me, and we are so happy about it. Because those things happened, we get to see an Olympian, we get to see a champion hockey goalkeeper for India who has been rewarded as an innovative wall. Because whatever I've read about you and heard about you, you are always called as a goalkeeper with innovative approach. And I don't know what that exactly means, and it will be good to hear from you. What does innovative approach in goalkeeping means?
Well, it's a very different technique which normally goalkeepers use, and you always have this feeling that, you have some idols or you watch some goalkeepers and you watch their techniques. But it's always considered that there are two types of saves you can make. There's one save which you just save and you get back to your stance, or you get back. There's one save which you make and you make the fans clap.
Ah.
So the save could be the same, the intensity could be the same, but how you show stop it is very important. And I've always pushed that with all the goalkeepers I have been along with, all my juniors, including Shreejesh. But the innovative technique always comes where you drive something new. You try something new.
Yes.
What we are doing with technology today, I think 1 month from now, there'll be a new technology. Will be like, okay, I think we should give a part for this technology and let's try
Right.
this. So that's what hockey did, because hockey is always revolving with rules. There are so many new rules coming up every now and then. And for me, it was the rush. So no goalkeeper used to run out for penalty corners. And even if they did, it was not on a consistent basis. So when I got introduced to this technique, it was thanks to my coaches who realized I'm the fastest in the 30-meter sprint in the national
Uh-huh.
camp, which never happens for a goalkeeper. You have legends like Dhanraj Pillai alongside. You have Viren Raskina, one of the fastest. Adam Sinclair was one of the fastest.
Yeah.
Deepak Thakur was one of the fastest. Ignesh Tirki was the fastest. Imagine a 19-year-old kid trying to outbeat them, but I never wanted to outbeat them. I was just enjoying running. So my coaches discovered that, okay, if he can run so fast here, how will he do with the pads?
Uh-huh.
and and just before the Olympics in Netherlands, where I got my first break, actually, Divesh Chauhan and myself were there in the camp, and Kamal Deep also was there. I was put in a situation where we were losing, I think 4-1 or 4-2 to Pakistan, and we had Sohail Abbas. And I'm like, okay, do I really need to try this here? On this given day, you want me to first try it against Sohail Abbas? And the coach goes like, yes. I'm like, okay. I've gone and I've conceded 2 goals. Both the charges I did, I conceded. Then I realized one thing after that tournament, that I can make this happen. Those 2 failures helped me realize that I can make this happen. And then Germany happened just before the Olympics, and
Yeah.
it worked wonders. It worked wonders. So it was all the teams were taking 2 steps behind in the Olympics. They were like, "Ye kya ho raha hai? Aisa bhi hota hai? My God, this also happens. Is someone doing this? Why is he doing that?" It worked. It just worked, and it worked till such a length that FIH had to change the rules in a very funny way.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So now you cannot break the line from a goal post. If you break the line during a penalty corner, you have to go to the center line,
Oh,
which
okay.
means a goalkeeper will never rush. Because if I break the line, there are chances of breaking the line very often. So if you break the line, I need to go in the center half. There'll be no goalkeeper.
Oh.
Not
Okay, so
many people know this, but
you made the change happen. It's I
I
think
made, I brought a change, but I don't know if it's a good one. I just
yeah,
made them change some rules. Yeah.
it worked for you. It worked wonders, and with that 2004, you were nominated for the most promising young player award by the FIH. You were awarded the Player of the Year by Indian Hockey. You're awarded the Hero Indian Sports Academy Award. You're awarded the prestigious Chhatrapati Shivaji Award. All these things happened in a very short span, 2004, 2006. How was that period aligning with you wearing what you're wearing right now?
Well, the awards you mentioned and all, that only hit me after 2010, to be very honest, or maybe after 2014, or maybe once I just quit from the national team. I mean,
Yeah.
because what happened is, I was still surrounded with the names that I just told you: Dilip Tirki, Gagan Ajit, Deepak Thakur, Dhanraj Pillai. I was still in awe of playing around them. So for me, I never felt that I am so and so. I always felt that I'm that young kid who's still learning every day and growing and just enjoying taking those hits, because these guys would come and slam the ball and I would be like, okay, I'm here. This is me. And it feels nice. It motivated me. But to be very honest, it never made me feel that I am better than anybody.
Yeah.
So I was humbled to have that, and I always will be.
Yes. And I think that's what the quality of an athlete, good athlete is. It's like you need to be mindful of what you are. I think these are the good milestones. And when people, there's a thing that people throw stones at you and convert into milestones. I think that how much a cliche it sounds, that is a journey.
Carry
And
a goalie.
yeah, can you be a savior? You're the wall in front of the small goalpost, or we feel it's small, but I think on the field it's a pretty big for a goalkeeper. I think the goalpost is pretty big.
Yeah.
So doing all those things, but while as you said, I think this hit you probably after you hung your boots and everything, but the journey was over 100 Indian caps. It is not a small journey. It's a pretty substantial journey that you had. But the first ever Olympic that you played, uh, how did you feel representing the India when you are on the field, when you see the flag is waving for you, and also because of you there when you're representing among the team? How does that feel, and how Olympic is different than any other tournament?
Well, Sid, there are many things involved with how Olympics is, different from many other tournaments. And for me, I played the Olympics before I played the World Cup, the Asian Games, and the Junior World Cup. So,
Oh,
so I was on the other loop. I was on the over loop where players normally play these tournaments and then they get to play the Olympics. But yes, you're right. When the national anthem took place, it was a moment of tears for me. To rewind a bit, the biggest difference between an Olympic game and any other event in sports history is the atmosphere, is the aura around you, because you enter a village where you are only alongside athletes who have just come for one mission and one mission only. Everyone has come to win a medal. Yes, everyone has come to make friends, everyone has come to meet other people, but everyone has come to win a medal. You get to see their faces and their intentions with that atmosphere in their face where you are you are charged up out of no reason. Even if you're going for a meal, imagine you're going for a meal and then you have Andy Roddick and Serena Williams sitting around you.
yeah.
That itself, you do not get that experience in any other sport. Because I'm a hockey player, I got to click a photo with Saviola then from Argentina.
Yeah.
That would never happen to me. So this motivates you to even do better. But when you get on the hockey field, what makes hockey very different, Olympic sport very different from the others, is the national anthem. It's such a big difference because there are national anthems played during the World Cup, there are national anthems played during the Asian Games, but when it happens during the Olympics, you know that this is what you came for.
Yeah.
And for me, uh, it's an experience because our coach had this concept of announcing the team one night before. I was in the team meeting and Devesh Chauhan and myself were there, and he's writing down the team on the board, and the first name is Adrian. I rush to the loo. I just throw up and I come back and I sit. Obviously, we didn't have WhatsApp then. We didn't have the technology we have now. I didn't have anyone to call right away just to say that, this is what is going to happen. I'm going to be playing tomorrow against Netherlands. And that was it. The story begins from there and it ends at the it ends at the closing ceremony.
Yes.
You get to be a part of a carnival, which is only involved with sports and dedicated athletes. I got to stand next to Ian Thorpe in a bus.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
These were things that happened to you as an Olympian, and you would not think of it that.
Yes. I think so wonderfully put in. It's like I got a goosebump when you're talking about all this thing. I can imagine what must be going through your mind, and the 19-year-old kid who is
We didn't
there.
have a smartphone, man.
Yeah, you didn't have a
You get
smartphone, correct?
selfies.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
possible.
Yeah, but there's an Olympic journey, and India always had amazing players. India's hockey history is so rich, but there was something that was always not working out at the last moment. Do you think it was more of a skill side or more of a mental side?
Uh, I would say it's a mix of three. I would say skill, mental, and physical. Do
Okay.
not leave the physical aspect because hockey is so much of a physical game that we could watch it in Tokyo. You could watch the top
Yeah.
teams, having a tough time with a breather. Rules have changed. We've got it now to 15 minutes, just to not only to get the PR thing done, but it's such a physical game. And what India proved in Tokyo is not about the medal, including the women's team. It's about them challenging the best teams in the world. And when we start doing that today, there are so many possibilities for us to be on the podium in the tournaments coming up, including the women's team. So for me, the skill has always been there. Yes, we have one of the most talented, skillful teams.
Yes, exactly.
The problem was, when do we use it? Where do we use it? So when these things can be taken care of, which the Indians have done very well in the last few years, the mental aspect will only help when we are physically fit. So it's a give and take. It's a given, I think, scientific proof that if you're tired, your brain can't think. It's as simple as that. So if you're not physically fit, I don't see anyone being mentally fit. For us, goalkeepers is different.
Yeah.
We go mentally more on 70, 80, and then we take physical 20, or you take physical 30. Whereas players, they have to be 80% physically fit. So in the last 10 years, from the Olympics that we've had in the past 2 Olympics, the players have developed this insane physical ability where the player knows what his capacity is. And thanks to the science technology that we have had now. So every player's on GPS. Now you can't lie. It's not that we lie, but as humans, you'd want to be right.
Correct.
So when the computer tells you that, boss, this is how much you ran and this is how much you can run, you cannot blame anybody. You have to just blame yourself. So these things have changed. And for me, the most important thing compared to all the other Olympics that I have watched or I have played is consistency. We lacked consistency.
Yes.
In all these tournaments. In 2000 Olympic Games, Sydney, we lost the game to Poland in the last few seconds. And Poland, like no one was expecting India to lose to Poland. Otherwise, we would be in the semis.
Yeah.
But again, it's consistency. Let's go back to Rio 2016. If you want to talk about that. So Rio experience, the team was great. What mattered was the match against Canada. We took one match lightly, and then we had to deal with Belgium in the quarters. So if we had to win that match, we would be meeting Spain in the quarters. Exactly like what we did now. In Tokyo, we had Japan in the same situation as Canada. And we turned things in Japan,
right,
against Japan, by beating them in such a way that we went so confident to play Great Britain in the quarters.
Yeah.
So yes, consistency is so important in big tournaments, and that is what all the top teams have. And for us Indians to do that, for me as a player to watch the boys do that, trust me, that brings me happiness. That is my expectation.
So well put through. And again, this time also I think we were so close to going into finals. Than winning a bronze. I think we were so close to competing for gold and silver. But again, it is one game here and there, those things changes. But finally, when we saw Shreejesh saving the ball in last 10 seconds, I think that's when you say people clap, right? Those are the saves that always stay in your mind. And that's where the thing happened. But what do you think is going to change? Because 2016 is always the example that we take about the consistency or the losing the match or giving opponent an equalizer in last few seconds or last few minutes. That has been the 2016 story that we have read. What do you think the bronze of 2020 will make an impact on Indian hockey going forward? Men and women together. Women did not win the medal, but I think they did more than that. And
women won a lot of hearts, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
it made a lot of hearts happy.
Yeah,
a lot of it. All the Indians.
Exactly. So, what do you think is going to change in the mindset in coming years?
Let's begin with social media. So I don't need to touch too many topics for this, but on a very serious note, India needs to have more tournaments now. As soon as the COVID situation fades away, for India to be on a top stage, to always maintain, as one of our coaches, Harinder sir, would say, India khelna bahut aasan hai. but maintain karna sabse hard part. Is the same thing right now, because now expectations have grown out of the Indian fans. So what has happened with this tournament is not only that players have been acknowledged or the women's have been acknowledged, but now expectations have been raised. So for India to do well, lots of tournaments have to take place. As long as we have sporting channels, showing these tournaments or having events. We had HIL, which was for me one of the biggest turnover for Indian hockey, and one of the real reasons of growth for players to play in such a big stage, because everyone got that opportunity to play alongside Jamie Dwyer, Denoya, Tom Boone, name the players. Everybody had that opportunity to share this table, have a meal alongside them. So what that did was change the entire transformation of our mental health with players, because everybody became confident. Except the Australia match in the Olympics, I do not see any other match where we could say that, we did a bad game. So for me, if we have more tournaments where it's going to be televised, it's going to be all over, and more of competitive tournaments for the Indian players and men's and women's, then Paris will also be a podium match for us, for men's and for women. And surely for that, I would really want it to be a gold experience. But then again, it's a long way right now, but the hard work has to go on.
Yeah. I'm not having complacent about the whole thing. I think the next couple of years are going to be more crucial than anything for maintaining the stage. And you rightly said so. But in the whole thing, how do you think, not politicizing it, but how do you think the role of Odisha in India's hockey is predominant? Because I think it was as good as reviving hockey for India. What Odisha did was as good as reviving hockey for India. So what's your feel about a state adopting the sport?
my feel about Odisha is basically like right now, how Tata's is trying to probably put their hands and get Air India back.
Right. Okay.
Hockey going back to its parental home, because Odisha has produced so many fascinating players.
Right.
We've always known hockey as Punjab, or from Karnataka, that is Coorg, and from Odisha.
Yeah.
And remaining, yes, we have amazing players from elsewhere, but as big hubs, these have always been the three big hubs for me, and I'm sure for many of them. So Odisha investing their time and their energy, forget about the money, because you know how that works. But when you decide to invest in this concept of not getting anything back, no returns, there was no returns in this. Their only vision was to do something good for hockey. And when certain things like this happens, yes, results do take time. They were never in a hurry. And another thing, what I forgot to mention about 2016 and the Olympics now, is if you look at the coaches, I would not, try to say the coach in 2016 was bad, but what Graham Reed did in this Olympics was super fascinating. When you take extra players who are on the bench, as in not on the bench, who are on the stands, and you do not make them play, as a player, you think that your tournament is going to end up being on the stands, unless someone is injured. But Graham Reed took the risk. He made changes. He brought Simranjit in. He was not even in the bench. He brought Simranjit in against Spain. He did wonders.
Yeah.
He did the next change. He brought Varun in. He brought Varun in for Birender Lakra. He did wonders. So what that goes to show is he believed in his team. He didn't believe in 11 players. He didn't believe in 2 players. He believed in his squad, including his staff. And when all that works for you, you can just put your best team. So India only kept on getting better after the Australia match. If there was another match after the bronze medal for another medal, India would have definitely won that. Trust me.
And I think that plays with the psyche, that plays with the confidence and the whole how you gel together. I think that's where it made. But I think you very well put in is the basically what Odisha did was the intent and invest without expecting anything in return, but at least making it reviving. And I think that's a great model. We just read about UP adopting wrestling the same way. Now they have said that 2032 is the mission. and they are working towards that mission of adopting wrestling. So I think 30 states, 29 states adopting one sport each. I think we'll do wonders. I think all the Olympic medals will be ours with this
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and not to forget the HIL tournaments used to happen in
Yeah.
Odisha. That was like the birth place, the time when they actually Patnaik ji actually started taking it more seriously. Because when the HIL stopped, all the Odisha would host the big events, including the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it's not a joke just to have tournaments and not expect anything from it. They didn't expect anything from it. They said we are there to support you all with Hockey India. And from there, what we see today, I think Odisha's quote is what the hidden secrets or something, right?
Yeah.
So,
Hidden secret. Yeah.
so there you go. And it's fascinating to see guys like Dilip Tirki always being a role model for everyone. He's been a role model to me. He's been my roommate. So I have high respects and high regards for him.
Yeah. And again, so that while we are talking about your career now, it's which has been the most memorable game tournament for you? It could be a win or a loss. And what did you learn from that tournament or that match?
I like to begin with a win. Win was definitely to win against Pakistan. Because it was a long time due. And in the Olympics, we had a tough time. Sohail Bhai was on fire, though I tried to do my best. But the next tournament that we got, and I still remember after 3 drag flicks, Sohail Bhai is like, "Bas kar bhai, abhi mat bhag." Like these were his words.
Wow.
Like, and I was I was a 20-year-old kid just running around and playing hockey. So I didn't care. I was like, okay, if he's telling me this, then I think I should charge more. and we won that match. That was our first victory after a long time in the series. And it's so memorable because it happened in India. It happened in front of my fans, my country, front of people that I wanted to play for India for, and against a team that we always cherish, our rivalry. We'll be pretty good friends off the field, but on the field, there's no mercy. Any given day. Even today, if you tell me, come on, let's take on Pakistan, it's a different ballgame. I will still shake hands with them after the match, but on the field, I won't treat you as a friend. It's simple. And one hard loss that I had to, which will always be with me, is in the Olympics. It's against Australia. We came back in the game 3-all, and that was a very important match for us not to lose, because back then we didn't have the options of quarterfinals. So there would be 6 teams in each pool, and only the top 2 would make it to the semis. So to your chances of getting a medal would get over very soon. By the third match or the second match, you would actually know that it's no more a medal hope, it's more of a ranking hope. So the game was 3-all. The ball was on the other side. Gagan Ajit took a try on the goal and it missed, and there were 28 seconds left on the clock. Being on the goal on this side, you can hear the crowd abusing, like the Australian supporters. My name being a Catholic name behind, it was easy for them to abuse. So, and we lost in the last 25 seconds, buddy. The move happened so fast that we all felt like dominoes. Everybody. So the move started there and it ended in the goalpost. That's what Australia can do. That is exactly what Australia can do. And that given day, from that day, I started having this huge respect for Australia, not because of how good they are, but because of how hard they are. They always try and play till the end of the whistle, no matter what. So as much as I hate them, this is why I respect them, because it feels nice to see us doing those things right now against big teams. What we did against Germany was brilliant. What we have done against Great Britain was outstanding. So these are the 2 memories that I can share with you.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, yes, win is a different thing. And the great guy like coming and telling you, bhai, bitna bat bhag karke. that's a different thing, and that's a different confidence booster. But at the same time, I think what you said about the game against Australia, the biggest learning is it's not done till it is done.
Yeah.
Don't till the whistle is blown, the game is not over. I think, and that is the big learning for anybody, any young guy looking or girl looking into or listening to great Adrian right now here. I think one thing has to taken note of is it's not done, it's done. Don't let your guard down till actually the whistle is blown. I think this is wonderful.
Yeah, like to add to it, people, were complaining and fans were commenting about India-Belgium match in the Olympics, how the umpires were not, doing their job well, or how they were being favorable towards Belgium. But I've always grown up with against 13 players. Since I got into the hockey field, as in the state teams, in the national teams, in the Indian team, it's always been, I've always played against 13. We always grown up with, भाई empire कुछ नहीं करेगा, आप लोग बस whistle पे खेलो. This has been the entire motto, mantra of all the coaches I've come across. So for us as players, we can argue at that given point. But after that is nothing. We have lost a bronze medal in the Junior World Cup after a goal being reversed, after celebrations, after scoreboard changes. Those days there were no third umpire.
Correct.
So we have seen situations where, like for me right now, I still feel that they have to focus on the referral. The referral guy has to be clean and clear. You cannot have no judgment after having a referral. That was one take back from me from the Olympics is, if I'm asking you for help and you're supposed to be my savior, you cannot come back to me and saying, boss, I cannot help you. Just let the decision go. It's senseless, but I'm sure they'll work on it.
I'm sure. I think technology will play a bigger role more and more, and I think it will be. Still, you can't make everybody happy. Whatever happens at the end of the day, I think that's where the more than Olympics, I think the Olympism has to come into players as well as the coaching and the whole supporting staff.
It's been great because India, not many people have spoken about this. India was one of the teams which took the least amount of cards.
Yeah.
Man, we are talking about how we get goals in the last 5 minutes and how we concede. No one talks about how many cards we take in a match. That matters so much. It matters so much. Because once you're down with one player, the game is then chess. It's all about chess. So India did fascinatingly well with their video referrals, with not conceding cards, and hats off to their physical aspects on the ground. Nobody gave up. Even the women's were to another level. Like, they have my respect from every angle.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Adrian, I think the amazing journey and amazing stories can go on for longest time. But I just want to ask, it's coming to the second part or last part of the chat is for now, as I say, is when you when actually in 2012 when you hiked up your boots, according to you, what are the biggest things that happened or biggest changes that happened to Indian hockey?
I'd like to say HIL, the Hockey India League. I just spoke about this a while back. What happened is the transformation of players from a mental perspective. As I mentioned, once players got to be around with the best players in the world, playing for the same team, everybody learned so much. Everybody grew so much. And not as a team, but as an individual. Players like Harmanpreet. I played alongside him in Dabang, Mumbai. So I had this opportunity of being a commentator and then playing for Dabang, Mumbai. So Harmanpreet was just getting, in the frame. He just got into Dabang. He just got into the hockey situation where it's on a big scene. And look at him today. He's reaching opponent's D as a defender, which never happens. Never happens. You would not see Dilip Tirki in the opponent's D as a forward. You would not see Raghunath in the opponent's D so often because their line was only till the midfield. But these guys have gotten so much confidence. Look at Rupinder Pal. He's achieved so much of confidence in this entire 10 years gap of thanks to Hockey India League and to most of the players. When you have that opportunity of sharing the same, dining table with these legends, you grow so much because I grew that way. And I can understand what happened to them. And when you get incentives, when you get acknowledged, and when you know that people are respecting you for your sport, it motivates you to do better. And HIL for me has been one of the biggest transitions. But then again, all the tournaments these boys have put up, the second part is giving juniors the opportunity. There were days, I'm sure, Sid, if you know the history of hockey, there were days when, some Indian team would be like, these players have been playing for so long. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be there or they deserve to be there. They surely do. But you can only get better with competition. And no one else can explain this to you better than goalkeepers. Imagine goalkeepers, it's only one position that we get to play. We don't have changes. It'll not be like, okay, Shreejesh, aap bahar aa jao, Adrian andar jao, Adrian bahar aa jao. You can't see that. You will see the goalkeeper playing for the entire tournament. So for us, we always had this, if you are better than me, you deserve to be there. But remember, one day I will get better than you. Everybody has thought about this, including Shreejesh, including myself, including Bharat Chetri, Baljit Singh, Divesh Chauhan, Subhaya, Ashish Balal, Edgar. These are the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
But everybody respects you because you are better at that given day. So for me, when the juniors get a chance, like in this team, if you notice, Shamsher played, I guess, hardly 8 or 9 internationals. And he has a bronze medal around his neck. So deserving.
Yeah.
When I played the Olympics, I barely had any experience in international matches. So I can relate to Shamsher. I can relate to the young players because you get these opportunities and you turn them into medals. So when you have competition to such a high level, you always get the best team. And that again has changed a lot. So I'm happy to see that. And Hockey India has done wonders for that.
Excellent. I think that's put through so well. And that just question, you spoke about so many legendary goalkeepers.
One more thing. The management, the staff management. It's so important that you have a team, not only of a coach or of a doctor, of a physio, of a manager, but you have a team who's a family, a person you can approach to.
Yeah.
Once you make that life approachable between the team management and the players, you always get the best results. That has changed.
Yeah. I think what you're talking about is the whole ecosystem around athlete is so conducive. It is so good for them to grow. I think that makes a happy family.
Yeah.
And when you have a happy family, I think it is even though it shows that what results it can give with the whole positivity around. That's so wonderful. You spoke about so many great goalkeepers in the whole journey. What do you think about the biggest differentiator for being a goalkeeper? Because it's only one position that you have on the field. A biggest differentiator goalkeeper brings to table. And if you are an innovator, what is Shreejesh?
Well, firstly, goalkeepers look different.
You don't get to see them. You're completely covered.
Yeah, I even once I have a helmet. Probably someday I'll send it to you. I'll send you the picture. I have a helmet with my photo on it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it was thanks to my brother with his innovative ideas, because Obo, the goalkeeping gear, would let a few goalkeepers customize their helmets. I was one of them. I was, I think, the first 3 or something when they laid out this offer. So I would design my own helmets and send it across to them, and then we would get it. So that's how I convinced Shreejesh and the other goalkeepers, saying that, you know what, I've realized something as a goalkeeper, that your appearance matters.
Yeah.
And I realized that, how is it? Because when I would come back to my home in Mumbai, in Malad, I've had situations where people would come to me, as in, like, from my society, aunties and uncle. अरे बेटा, आपको पता है कोई हॉकी प्लेयर है अपने मलाड से, वो हिंदुस्तान के लिए खेल रहा है. These are people talking to me about me. आप कहाँ, अभी आप कभी खेलोगे? Like these, because everyone knew me as a very different name in my neighborhood, not as Adrian D'Souza. So they knew me as a like in my nickname. And they would come to me and ask me. And then I realized that because I look so skinny and so lean in real life, and I look like an astronaut in the gear, like, appearance does matter. And I would always, then I got into customizing helmets. And thankfully today, all the goalkeepers, all the Indian goalkeepers are well equipped, where they don't have to worry about paying 2 lakhs for a gear. It's an expensive kit, and everyone is sponsored today. Thanks to all those hardworking days that we had, because we all started with gears which would were not great. But that's how the innovative ideas came as well in my helmets. And Shreejesh also is today doing great with his helmets. So we talk about helmets, we talk about books. But for me, I would say I have been known as the Rush. That's more of a name that has been given to me. But for Shreejesh, it would be the Indian wall from God's own country.
Oh, man.
He's for me the Indian wall from God's own country. He's unique. He's special. He's a wall, and he is so advanced and in his life that I have been blessed to watch him grow from a teenager to an adult. Not only on the field, whether he wins medals or he doesn't. For me, he's the Shreejesh that I will always love and respect, because now I feel so proud of him that it makes me, till a certain point of time, I used to always believe that I am the best in the world, no matter what. I do not see why I should not feel that, because I would feel it. But now, after the Olympics, I can proudly say that Shreejesh for me is the best goalkeeper in the world that I have ever seen in my own eyes. So for me to watch him grow to this level that where he's gone on sitting on the goalpost today with a medal around his neck is a very proud feeling. Not only as a hockey player, but also as an older brother from another mother. Yeah, yes. In those ways.
Yeah, and believe me, while you're speaking, and you're filled with the proud feel, or the filled with pride, and at the same time, it was the feeling that even if you had not mentioned, we caught the feeling of being an older brother from another mother. I think the feel was there on your face, and I think that is also the quality of being a good overall, not only good human, but an athlete which is wholesome. I think that is what the quality we get to see in whatever 40 minutes talk that we've been having. So I just want to end on one question that I always ask, because the viewers of our channels are so many young kids and athletes and everybody, or parents as well. So what is the advice that you have for youngsters, that actually probably the advice that changed your life and that you want to pass it on to the youngsters, that about achieving success and maintaining that at the big stage?
Well, firstly, I'd like to pass a message to any parents who are watching this. Without parents' support, without parents' confidence, no kid is going to achieve it. So for me, it begins with parents. If my parents wouldn't support me during my times, I wouldn't be here sitting and having this conversation. So parent support is one of the most important ingredients to make any athlete. It doesn't matter whether it comes from mother or father or brother or sister, as long as it's family, as long as it's someone you look up to. And then for kids, I think I have to go to where I began from. The first the question that you asked me: follow your dreams. Think of them as goals. Don't think of them as a mountain to climb. Don't think of them as Mount Everest, or don't think of them as just as you sleep over it and it's a dream. Think of them as small goals. Start with small, very minute things. You don't have to achieve that you want to become so and so, or you want to wear the Indian jersey. No. My motivations was so unique or so different that during hard days of training, like really hard days in my academy days, where I would cry, literally cry to come back home, my motivation would be omelette or bread and butter at the end of the training session. I would be running thinking that, okay, I see breakfast at the end of the tunnel. But these were small goals. They were small motivations, and every athlete goes through that. So if you want to achieve, if you want to be successful in life, remember, hard work always pays off. Some people get it very early. Some people, it takes time, but you need to be patient. And the second part is gratitude. If you do not respect other athletes, and if you do not respect other players, and you do not have this feeling that, okay, he's better than me, and I need to get better than him, but not by putting him down, but by proving it on the field, you will do wonders in life. not only as an athlete, but as a human being. So this is how I'd like to pass on the message to the young people.
Excellent. Yes, and I think what you put about parents and the kids both, I think it is so gels so well. I think it's and coming from you, I'm sure it is something that people. It's not somebody who is just saying it. It is somebody who has done it, been there, done that, and somebody who is. I was calling him a wall, but he called somebody else a wall. But he is still known as a rush. So thank you for being that, Adrian. Thank you for inspiring so many people, and thank you for spending time with us. It's wonderful to talk to you. Wish you all the best and stay safe, and talk to you soon.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you. Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank
And
you.
all the best for your future events. And keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe to our channel, Sportsy Sage, and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle, Sportsy Sage, across all the social media platforms and podcasts.